Hey guys, it's Matthew here once again, and this is quite possibly going to be the Who Asked of videos because I'm not sure anyone really cares at this point for me to talk about Diablo 4, but gonna go ahead and do it anyway. I did go ahead and play the new Season 8 Diablo 4 just so that you wouldn't have to, and giving you a bit of the lowdown on what's going on. So I played it for a whole day before, like just as it came out, played it for a whole day before going ahead and checking some of the community sentiment, and what I thought was just, as per usual, kind of an aggressively okay experience. Everyone turned out to just hate it, and I had no idea that it was as bad as it was, apparently. And I think a large part of that is stemming from the fact that the usual crowd that has been basically choking down the Diablo 4 seasons, season after season, has finally caught up with the rest of us and gotten a bit fed up with the usual cycle where nothing particularly exciting happens. For me, this season was just a bit more Diablo 4. It was like, yep, log in, do an extra mechanic, get some extra borrowed powers, which were kind of fun. I thought those powers were kind of fun. The mechanic or the event was pretty much nothing, and then there's a little bit of balance changes, a bit of quality of life, all of that. So it was basically just a D4 season, right? Like, you know what to expect, you know what to get. For a lot of other people, they seem to, for some reason, still expect more. And once there was a bit of a rug pull, I suppose, on the battle pass, which was a big point of contention, that's when everyone was like, yo, hold up. This D4 thing isn't going as well as we thought. So it seems like everyone's kind of upset that the mechanic is pretty stale, which is, I think, pretty usual, thing for D4 season to do. But then, most importantly, apparently, I had no idea that Battle Pass was so fucking important. The Battle Pass is just less than it usually was. Like, you get a bit less cosmetics or a bit less points or something. I don't fucking know. I don't look at the Battle Pass, and I still haven't, basically, up to this point. And it's a bit of a confusing rework. Like, I looked at it and I don't really know what the hell it wants from me. But anyway, that's kind of where a lot of the anger came from, because I guess we're just, not getting that much in season per season. And then at the same time, a lot of people like doing their battle pass, and it's like kind of like challenge, league sort of thing where you're just ticking off boxes, and then this one's like worse than usual. So pretty angry stuff. So the community sentiment was not good. I think in general, just to go over the entire game at this point and how things fit, it's still just an okay ARPG to get into for the first time. Like, if you're getting into it for the very first time, not too bad, right? You'll have a bit of fun. You'll explore some classes. You'll have some fun with skills and some fucking aesthetics and bosses and whatever. It'll be okay. The big problem with D4, and I guess a lot of ARPGs at the moment in our pretty plentiful landscape of ARPGs, is the replayability, coming back, the reason to come back, and how it feels coming back. And it does feel pretty lackluster. Like, coming back, you don't really get much out of it. You've already kind of gone through the motions and you're just going through the motions again. And I feel like that's kind of a problem with a lot of them. And of course, PoE1, our king, does it better than the rest at the moment, because when you come back, you are coming back for reasons. There's like a whole new system to check out, mechanic. There's usually pretty big changes, or at least, historically. Of course, we're not doing so well in the past year, but historically, that's been reasons to come back to PoE1. And it just feels good to come back with pretty much every other game. And we're even talking about, very recently, just PoE2 coming back out with small updates here or there. It doesn't have huge reasons to come back. But of course, I think there's going to be bigger updates and, the full release and everything. And I think it's on track for doing things the right way. But yeah, last epoch, you're talking D4, you're talking PoE2. Like, reasons to come back need to exist, and D4 is lacking those in spades, it seems. Most people, like I said, were pretty happy to just log in and go ahead and do their new little power and stuff. But once it really started to feel lackluster, 8 seasons in, then it just kind of, I guess, opened their eyes to the reality that this is Diablo 4. And it just surprised me how angry everyone was about this, because I got what I expected, which is not too much. I'm like, okay, going in, not expecting too much. Yep, got that. Bit of fun. Played it for 3 days. I thought that if everyone's going to be mad, the time for doing that would have been the expansion, because that's when there's like a big opportunity for system reworks and that type of shit. Whereas the seasons are just par for the course. They give you a bit of a new power, they give you an extra little new thing to do, but then otherwise there's just some balance sometimes, maybe a few new uniques. And that's just how it's been. But all of a sudden, yep, it is apparently an issue. So to talk about the actual game a bit, the season and stuff, it is a bit lackluster, just the way it is done, I suppose. Belial is Lord of Lies, coming back from Act 2 of Diablo 3, and the end fight that you do with him is almost one for one the same from Diablo 3. They've added like a mechanic or two, but otherwise big same boss and arena and stuff. That's just the big payoff. To get there, on the way there, the actual season mechanic, you are basically doing a reskinned Legion event, which is like something that pops up on the map every fucking 5 to 10 minutes, and you go in and you do just a copy paste, repeat few encounters, and then just like a small boss fight at the end of it. And that it is very copy paste. It has like a couple of lines of dialogue that you just repeatedly hear every time, and you pretty much just know what you're going to get over and over and over again. You got to do this rep grind to get to some extra rewards, but you can kind of skip that rep grind and just get it from doing boss fights, and then the season mechanic essentially doesn't exist. So there is that, but the boss powers that come with it, I'm going to give credit where credit's due. They're kind of fun. You steal like kind of a skill or boss power based around many different bosses that you kill, and they're kind of neat. Some of them are pretty powerful, some of them very powerful, and they can change your build a little bit, so they're not too bad. It's more borrowed power, as this game has continuously done. You are going to get this and feel more powerful, and then it's kind of pretty much gone, and you just get a different one next season. So there's not too much continuity in that. Aside from that, what else do we need to say? Some of the boss fights did get a bit reworked, so they added a few mechanics to just make them dumber bullet hells, where you got to like really focus and just dodge everything once again, or just build a character to be able to tank most of that. And they also made it so most boss fights you can't really like skip through phases. So if you got enough damage, you can't just be like 100-0. You instead are kind of like forced to do its add phase, forced to do its like extra attack phase, whatever the fuck. And that has made Uber Lilith once again worse, which is just hilarious. It's like 8 seasons in a row almost where just Uber Lilith, one of like a lot of people's least favorite ARPG boss fight, just got worse again, because you are forced to do these mechanics, and just it opens your eyes to how not fun some of the mechanics in boss fights are. And Lilith is one, and Endariel is another, because that is just a clusterfuck of a fight, and it's so like annoying to actually do, and it's kind of just infuriating that it's to the point of just like laughable. You go insane, going ha ha ha, how the fuck am I doing this right now? Why is this my time? Anyway, so you are forced to do some bosses like that more than before. And the torment scaling got changed a bit, and the leveling got changed a bit. So the leveling got changed to the point where it's supposed to be a bit slower, and you find a bit less loot, so there's a bit more, like meaningful kind of progression. I personally didn't fucking notice it at all. Like, it felt like I got to max level and then started Paragon grinding the same as usual. Maybe it was a bit slower, sure. Didn't really impact me at all, so that's fine. And the torment scaling, like, they made it so it's a bit more apparent, and I don't know, it's kind of weird. It is what it is. It's Diablo 3, it's Diablo 4, big numbers, big health scaling and all that, but going from like a tier, it goes from Torment 1 to Torment 4, going from like a Torment 2 boss fight, like I was doing Belial Torment 2, and I was pretty much, killing him in like 5 seconds, and then I tried out Torment 3, because I'm like, obviously I'm too strong for Torment 2, and it would have taken me like 10 minutes to do. It felt like a health gap of about 50 times. So then Torment 4 is a health gap from Torment 2 to Torment 4 of like 1,000 times, you would think. But the crazy thing is, after just working on my gear and my character and making some upgrades, after like 3 hours, I was back to 5-second killing Torment 3 Belial. So it still makes sense for the game, but it's just weird and wacky how big the health scaling, the damage scaling in this game really is. And it is what it is. Yes, it's kind of fun to like upgrade, and kind of fun to just constantly chase that next little min-max and dopamine for your character, but it becomes pretty shallow when you're doing it season after season for the same sort of shit, because it doesn't feel particularly good, at least not to me. And then yeah, the meta doesn't change too often. Like they, for the most part, haven't really shaped it or shook it up too much. All expansion except for just like killing off Spiritborn. So Spiritborn came along in the expansion, and it was just the dumbest thing pretty much any ARPG has ever seen. And then it's gone. Basically, it got nerfed to oblivion, and it's fine at this point, more balanced, let's just call it. Meanwhile, most other things haven't really been shaken up too much, and they're just, you know what to expect, and you play a class that you want to play, and you know what you're going to get out of it. You make the build that they want you to make, and then, yeah, there's not too much real decision making there, except for, combining a couple of legendary powers, but it's a pretty solved meta. So, yeah, where does that leave us? Probably me trying it again in another 6 months and having another couple of days of fun, which is, for me, all I can really ask from D4. Because, yeah, if you just take it for what it is, ignore it for a while, see some of the updates come through, and then give it a shot and actually commit your time for a few days, you'll have fun for those few days. And then you'll stop, and then that's all there is to it. If you come back every single update and you're hoping that you're going to have a great blasty time every single time, I don't know. It's going to feel pretty shallow, and I think that's where you're going to end up getting a bit too frustrated with the game, and then have to just leave for a long time, or just leave for forever and look to greener pastures. So with that, yep, that's my kind of, I don't know, I wouldn't really call it a review, but the TLDR, it feels kind of on par to me with the Last Epoch. I think Last Epoch is a better game, but I can have a similar amount of fun in D4. I've probably played both games about the same amount of time at this point, and they do have a kind of similar feel to some extent for the kind of dopamine rewards you get quickly and powerfully. But then I think overall Last Epoch's a better game. It just needs still a lot more of everything that it's got, which will take time. So they're making good steps, and of course, it'll just take time. But I do think that they're on par for me for how quick I can get into it and put it down, that sort of thing. While I still do rate PoE 1 and PoE 2. If you're gonna, go down that route, I rate them much higher than all these other games still. And I'll get back to PoE 2 soon. Probably just doing one more Last Epoch build so that I don't feel bad about wasting some of the gear I've got, and then we'll get back to playing some PoE 2, trying out the loot, and enjoying what that game has to offer thus far in its pretty infant state. So there it is. Yep, if you've never played D4 before in your life, I think you'll get a few weeks enjoyment out of it. If you've played plenty, coming back to a new season like this one isn't going to feel amazing. You can maybe get something out of it, but yeah, take it for what it is. Some game that you play a little bit every now and again, and just move on. So thank you very much for watching. See you guys next time.